Broussard, is the 21st century better defined by LeBron or by Brady?
Wow, good question. Inside the lines, it's clearly Brady. I think that's inarguable. And inside the lines, I mean on the field or on the court, he simply dominated his sport more than LeBron did. Now, you can argue in a vacuum that LeBron was the better individual player, but just dominance of their sport. Brady owned the NFL. In records individually, he will retire with more than LeBron and more significant records than LeBron. And then, obviously, winning, he's won more Super Bowls than any franchise, okay? And LeBron, they've both been to 10 championships, finals or Super Bowls. Brady's won 7, LeBron's won 4, so he's lost more than he's won. So as an athlete, I would say Brady. But overall, it's definitely LeBron. Because off the field, outside the lines, LeBron has clearly defined the 21st century for athletes. First of all, he's a business mogul. He was doing movies and shows and all of that about himself and his life long before Brady. Like, you can argue Kevin Durant's clearly following LeBron's business path. And many other players are, as LeBron set the example. I could argue that Brady is as well. Like, Brady has gotten much more into business, and now, he's doing all his TV shows and movies about himself, man in the arena, all that stuff after LeBron. So I think he saw LeBron do that, and like many other athletes, picked that up. LeBron has set the blueprint for how to empower your friends. All right, before LeBron, it was, your boys hanging with you. They going on the road with you to all your games. And entourage is the term we use, posse. LeBron turned his childhood friends or gave them the opportunity, and they capitalized on becoming business moguls themselves. And you can argue to some degree, Maverick Carter and Rich Paul are becoming icons in their own right. All right, so LeBron set that path. Player empowerment. I would argue Kevin Durant would not have even thought of going to Golden State, which changed the history of the NBA. Anthony Davis doesn't go to the Lakers. James Harden doesn't go to Brooklyn if LeBron didn't start player empowerment by going to Miami from Cleveland. And then, of course, just social media. LeBron has 25 times more Twitter followers than Tom Brady and 10 times more Instagram followers than Brady. So off the field, LeBron is far more defining and impactful than Brady. But in the lines, I got to go with Brady.
Listen, I think we all agree that off the field, LeBron had more impact. And you didn't even mention that LeBron, for good or for bad, no matter what you think of it, is active in the political specter as well. And Brady shies away from it as much as possible. Off the field, from the decision to a million other things, it's obviously LeBron. But I totally disagree with you on the field. You said a few things there that I think are just wrong. You said Brady's going to retire with far more impactful or important records. What could be a more important individual record than the all-time scoring title, which LeBron will have? He already has the most of everything in the playoffs. By the way, Brady has the same things. So as far as all-time statistical records, I think Brady and LeBron, I think that is a check and a check. It's a tie almost. What LeBron, though, has been able to do everywhere he has gone, and independent of coaching, far outshines what Tom Brady was able to do. Tom Brady won 6 Super Bowls with the greatest coach ever, won another one with a coach who had already been to a Super Bowl previously, a very good coach. LeBron James went to the finals with Mike Brown, then with Eric Spoelstra, then with David Blatt, then with Ty Lue, then with Frank Vogel. What all 5 of those guys have in common is none of them ever sniffed a finals before LeBron walked into their lives, and one would argue, aside from Spo, none of them would ever sniff a finals again post LeBron. Ty Lue actually probably could. He came close last year. But before LeBron got there, those were not all-time great coaches. Additionally, if we are going to do but one guy won 7 rings, the other guy won 4, what we must acknowledge, and Wildes I'm going to put you in a little logical vice here because in your old baby goat stuff all year, you kept making a point.
Yeah.
And it was a good one. That first Super Bowl the Patriots won, was Tom Brady the driving factor? Was Tom Brady great? No. Or did he have one touchdown the whole playoff run? That's the first Super Bowl he won with the Patriots. The last Super Bowl he won with the Patriots. Was Tom Brady amazing in that game? No.
Let's hear it.
They scored 13 points. Nope. It was Belichick and the defense. Has LeBron James ever had the ability, I stunk, but we got the ring anyway? Nope. If he's ever not excellent, his team doesn't win. It would be like if the 2011 finals, LeBron had his moment, but they won anyway. Even the most recent Super Bowl, Brady was excellent in the Super Bowl, no doubt about it. But in the game to get there, he threw 3 second-half interceptions, and his team bailed him out. So that's not able to happen in basketball because you got to play both sides. You got to play both ends of the court, obviously, all of it. And LeBron never had a decade-long gap without winning a title. So I think on the court, forget off the court where I think we all agree, on the court, LeBron's resume to me is clearly the most impressive, I would argue, ever of any athlete, but certainly if we're going to say of this century.
I think that's a great take, and I want to specifically dig in on the rings. Just for the record, Tom Brady also did not pick off Russell Wilson to seal the game there. That was Bill Belichick and Brian Flores.
Yeah, but he played well in that game.
Here's the thing.
Sure, but he played, but that's
he played well.
But that's like
I'm
the
sure,
Kyrie
but when it
shot
came
to
down
me.
to it,
You're not there without him. Like that's to be fair. He put them in a position.
Obviously, you're the quarterback. He didn't play terrible, but that game was won by the defense. That is the defining moment of that game. I'm just a little upset. I feel like Tom Brady should have watched all those Super Bowls back and be like, you know what? I'm going to go with 5 hearts on the Belichick Instagram post. Now that I see how well the defense played, I should go with 5 hearts. I'm going to edit the Instagram post. Broussard, we talk a lot about you being the elder statesman of the show, and we kind of joke around about it, but it is true that you've covered the game longer than us. You say something interesting about Jordan, that the statue of Jordan went up that said, here's the greatest basketball player of all time, after he had won 3 rings. Do you feel like in the course of your career that we are now at peak count the rings culture and that Brady helped push count the rings culture further than it ever has been in your career of what you've seen in sports?
No. I think Magic and Bird began the emphasis on winning. Because neither of them was dominant historically, statistically. They were great statistically, but not dominant. But they won so much, and that defined them. And remember, Jerry West, before Bird and Magic, was known as Mr. Clutch, even though he lost, his first 7 trips to the NBA Finals. Yep. So that would never happen post-Bird Magic. And then Jordan took it to a whole nother level by winning 6 in 7 years, if you want to go that route in his playing career. So I wouldn't say Brady's defined it more. What I would say about Brady is for football players, quarterbacks, he's totally set a new bar where if Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, any of these guys finishes their career with just 1 ring, it's going to be looked at as a massive disappointment, including Aaron Rodgers too, because Brady won so many.
So weird, yeah.
Right. Just to be quick, Wild, since you opened the door here, this was not supposed to be about Michael Jordan, but just to respond, what changed the count the rings culture and all of that was the folks deciding the answer to the question is Jordan is the greatest ever. We will adjust the question accordingly. Because Jordan was the greatest ever when he had 3 rings and Magic had 5 and Kareem had 6. But then when Jordan caught up in rings, then the rings, because when Jordan retired, and it was an eye test thing, people weren't up in arms. How can you call him the greatest ever? He only has 3 rings. People were like, I watched. He's better than all those guys. But then this kid from Akron comes by and you watch. He's like, he's bigger, stronger, faster, can do more. But he doesn't have the rings. He doesn't have the jewelry, America. You can't do it.
And
so like that's.
But here's the thing, Nick, and this is an argument for Brady. Brady leaves his game as the undisputed GOAT. Right? I mean, anybody that doesn't think Brady's the GOAT quarterback is just simply a hater. LeBron's not doing that.
Correct.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.